Let me ask you something. What if that little voice in your head, the one whispering quit, just went silent? What if all the pressure you're feeling right now, the fatigue, the frustration, wasn't a sign to walk away, but proof you're on the edge of something big? You see, this pain you're carrying, it wasn't sent to break you. It was sent to build you. It's here to carve out the weaker parts, to forge you into something you've never been before. This moment you're in right now, the grind, the sleepless nights, the doubts that creep in when nobody's around, this is not your exit ramp. This is your proving ground. Because here's the truth. No man has ever risen without first being broken. No empire has ever stood without facing storms. No mind has ever been made of steel without walking through fire. So when you say, "Man, this is hard," good. That means it's working. This isn't the time to look for comfort. This isn't the time to hope for an easy way out. This is the time to dig in, to let every ounce of pressure press you into the shape you were meant to take. Right now, the world might be telling you to slow down, to give in, to step aside. But you have a choice. You can listen to that voice, or you can silence it once and for all. And when you do, when you shut that door on doubt, you'll realize something powerful. This pain, it's not the enemy. It's the teacher. It's the tool. It's the fire that proves you belong here. So don't step back. Don't tap out. Stand right where you are and own this moment. Because the very thing you're fighting right now is the thing that's making you unstoppable. I didn't come here to make you feel comfortable. I'm not here to hand you permission to stop. I came to wake up that part of you that refuses to crawl back into comfort, the fighter, the executor, the version of you that doesn't wait for perfect conditions but moves anyway. Let the quitters quit. Let the fearful retreat. But you? Don't you dare. You've walked too far, bled too much, and sacrificed too many nights to throw it all away now. Everything you've been fighting for is standing just on the other side of this pain, waiting for you to cross. So you don't stop here. You don't break here. You build here. I want you to rise up inside your own mind, to stand tall in that quiet place where only you can hear your own voice, and let the world hear your silence louder than their noise. Right now, this is your hour. Let's begin. Because here's the truth most people don't want to admit. When the going gets hard, most men start looking for the exit. They whisper lies to themselves. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe now's not the right time. Maybe I've already done enough. But I'm not talking to the man who wants an excuse. I'm talking to the part of you that remembers who you were before the world taught you to back down. Pain isn't your enemy. Pressure isn't a sign to stop. Resistance? It's not a red light, it's the gatekeeper. It's the test you have to pass, the sacred threshold only a few will ever cross. And here's the thing. The man who makes it through isn't the same as the one who walked in. He's sharper. He's stronger. He's real. That's the whole purpose of hardship. To strip away the excuses, burn off the weakness, and leave only the part of you that can't be broken. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, Andrew Carnegie told me something I've never forgotten. He said, "Adversity is the refining fire of destiny. It burns away the weak man and leaves only the man who's ready to lead." Carnegie didn't come from privilege. He wasn't handed a seat at the table. He was a poor Scottish immigrant working in a telegraph office, making almost nothing. But every hour he worked, he was watching, listening, preparing, and when his moment came, he didn't hesitate. Why? Because all the long days, the uncertainty, the low pay they had already forged him. The fire he'd been walking through had made him ready. Now let's talk about Charles M. Schwab. He stood beside Carnegie as his right-hand man, right in the middle of the storm of industry, facing competition, criticism, and resistance from men older, richer, and more experienced. But Schwab had something most men didn't: resilience. He didn't hide in the shadows. He moved quickly, made decisions, and led from the front. I once asked him how he dealt with fear, and he told me, "Fear is a fog, and a man has to learn to walk forward even when he can't see." Think about that. You might not see your future clearly right now, You might be surrounded by doubt, standing in your own fog, but you still move. You still act. You still build. Because the man who waits for perfect clarity, he never arrives. And then there's Henry Ford. When he set out to build his vision, everyone said it was foolish. They told him the car was just a novelty, that it would never replace the horse. Even his own engineers said his idea for an 8-cylinder engine was impossible. Do you know what Ford told them? Build it anyway. Not once, not twice, over and over until they did it. Because Ford understood something the average man never will. When everything pushes back against you, it's not just the world testing you. It's your mind asking, do you really want this? And the only answer that matters is action. If you're tired right now, good. If you're doubting yourself, good. If you're feeling the weight of pressure on your back, good. That means you're in the arena. It means you're pushing the limits of what you thought you could do. And I'm going to be straight with you. I will not let you quit. Because quitting right now isn't just walking away from your goals. It's betraying your own identity. You've been built for more than that. And you didn't come this far just to collapse under the same old story. Here's the reality: there are going to be days when nothing goes your way. Days when every voice around you questions why you're doing this. When even the smallest steps forward feel like dragging a boulder uphill. And on those days, the whispers start creeping in. Maybe I should take a break. Maybe I should slow down. Maybe I should just walk away. But let me be crystal clear. Those whispers aren't your voice. That's the voice of drift. The voice of the old version of you, the one addicted to comfort, the one desperate to pull you back to safety. And safety feels nice, but safety has never built a single great thing. This is where you anchor yourself. Anchor to your mission. Anchor to the future you promised yourself. Anchor to the man you swore you would become. No applause. No audience. No instant reward. Just silence. Pain. Progress. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Because every single day you push through this storm, even when nobody's watching. You're building a life no storm can shake. The crown isn't earned when the path is easy. It isn't earned when you're full of energy and everything's going your way. It's earned right here, when it's heavy, when it's ugly, when every part of you wants to stop, and you don't. There will come a point when the applause stops, when the results slow down, when the progress you used to see every week starts to feel like it's moving in slow motion. And in that silence, you'll hear a question echo in your mind. Is this still worth it? This, right here, is the moment that separates the dabblers from the dominators. Because anyone can start with fire. Anyone can get excited when the path feels new. But only a few keep moving when the fire dies down. When there's no crowd, no spotlight, and no one clapping for them. You have to decide to be one of those few. Because the truth is, every great thing you see, every empire, every invention, every movement was built in long stretches of silence. It was built in the moments when the world wasn't watching. And here's the secret. Those moments, they're the crown-making moments. The crown isn't handed out when life feels light and momentum is on your side. It's earned right here in the grind. When your muscles ache, when your mind is screaming for relief, when you're standing alone and no one is there to validate your effort. And when you push through that, that's when you realize you were never doing this for applause anyway. You were doing it because this is who you are. Because the man you're becoming doesn't need to be seen to keep going. Understand this: the silence is not a punishment. It's the forge. It's the place where your discipline sharpens, where your patience strengthens, and where your identity becomes unshakable. So the next time you find yourself working without recognition, remember, you're not invisible. You're in training. And when you step out of that silence, the world will have no choice but to notice. One of the most dangerous moments in any journey is the one that comes right before the breakthrough. I've seen it again and again. Men standing just steps from victory, days from the opportunity they'd been chasing for years, and they quit. Not because they lacked talent, Not because they didn't have the skills, but because they couldn't endure the weight of that final stretch. Charles M. Schwab once told me, "The men who run when things get hard don't realize they were 10 feet from the gold." 10 feet. That's it. A handful of steps, and they walk away. You might be in that place right now. You might feel like every ounce of effort is going into a black hole, like nothing's moving, like you're stuck. But the truth is, progress doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes the pressure gets heavier because you're right on the edge of the next level. And here's what separates the great from the average. They keep going, even when they can't see the finish line. Look at Abraham Lincoln. When he stepped into the White House, the country was already splitting apart. States seceding. War was inevitable. Criticism came from every side. Most men would have crumbled, but Lincoln stayed the course. He didn't let the storm dictate his decisions. He anchored himself to the mission, no matter the cost. Andrew Carnegie once told me, "No man becomes powerful until he no longer requires things to be easy." Think about that. It's not the mountain that gets smaller. It's you who grows stronger. And right now, even if you don't feel it, you are getting stronger. Every hour you endure, every setback you push through, every doubt you silence, you're adding weight to the foundation you're building. So say it out loud: I'm not done. I'm not finished. I don't quit. I rise. Because the man who becomes unstoppable isn't the one who starts fast. He's the one who refuses to stop, no matter how slow the climb becomes. Pressure. It doesn't just weigh on you, it changes you. When the going gets hard, your old identity starts to die. The version of you that wanted comfort, that chased quick wins, that needed applause to keep moving forward. That version cannot survive what you're walking through now. And that's a gift. Because pressure doesn't just break men, it purifies them. It burns away the excess, the excuses, the fragile layers, until only the unshakable part of you remains. Look at Abraham Lincoln again. He carried the burden of a fractured nation, the chaos of war, the endless noise of public criticism, but he didn't fold. He didn't let his private pain turn into public paralysis. He led anyway. Or Andrew Carnegie, the man who shaped my understanding of wealth and will. He told me once, "No man becomes powerful until he no longer requires things to be easy." And he lived that truth. He didn't look for the path of least resistance. He didn't waste time searching for a smoother road. He chose the climb that demanded all of him. Because he knew that's where greatness is forged. The mountain doesn't shrink. You grow stronger. And maybe right now you don't feel stronger. Maybe all you can feel is the strain, the weight, the fight to keep your head up. But I promise you that's growth in disguise. That's your mind, your will, your character reshaping under pressure. This is the moment you tell yourself, "I am not done. I am not finished. I do not quit. I rise." And you repeat it until it becomes your default state. Because the unstoppable man isn't the one who's never knocked down. He's the one who refuses to stay down. The one who keeps standing back up, no matter how heavy the world feels. Right now, that man is you. There's a reason some men succeed while others stall out forever. The ones who win don't leave themselves an escape route. They burn the bridge, not out of drama, not to make a scene, but because they understand that as long as going back is an option, the mind will keep it on the table. And the second pressure rises, that old part of you will whisper, "We can always quit. We can always take the easy way out." But the man who's truly committed, he takes that option away. He says, "We're not going back. We're not slowing down. We're not looking over our shoulder." And then he proves it with his actions. Because here's the truth, your subconscious is listening closely to every word, every thought, every hesitation. If you feed it doubt, even in tiny doses, it will find ways to sabotage you. But if you reinforce the decision through repetition, through action, through relentless follow-through, your subconscious locks in. It says, "We have no other choice but to win." Henry Ford knew this. When people doubted his vision, he didn't waste time trying to convince them. He built, He moved before they believed. He forced the world to adjust. And that's what you have to do, move before you feel ready. Because waiting for the perfect moment is the most dangerous trap a man can fall into. We tell ourselves we'll start when the timing's right, when the pressure's lower, when the finances are better, when the confidence shows up. But that moment never comes. The clock is your enemy if you let it be. And the calendar? It's just a polite name for hesitation. There is no right time. There's only now and not now. So burn the bridge. Remove the option to retreat. Close every door that leads backward. Because the man who keeps an escape route open is never fully in the fight. But the man who commits with no way out, he becomes unstoppable.